I'm Holly Kovo from Fitting Fitness In. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition specialist, and welcome to Get Healthy with Holly. Today we're going to do a workout in your kitchen while you're cooking, whether it's dessert or dinner. My business name, Fitting Fitness In, kind of tells you you can fit fitness anywhere, and I want to give you some ideas of what you can do in other rooms in your house other than in your basement or whatever room is your workout room. And for today, it's in your kitchen. I had a client one time who really hated going down into her basement to work out, so I designed her whole program in the kitchen. And I'll show you some of the ideas that we used and some of the exercises that she did. And remember, even though you're doing one exercise at a time, it's still exercise and you're fitting it in. So let's do our first recipe. And our first recipe is chocolate cherry almond crisp. It's a nice dessert. And I make it all the time. It's a big hit wherever I bring it, if I bring it to somebody's house or if I have it at home. So let's start with, we have 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, 3/4 cup of white chocolate chips, and then I'm going to do 1.5 cups of rice Chex that are all crunched, and I'll do that in a minute. Or you could use Rice Krispies. I don't know, I kind of like the Rice Chex better. And then 3/4 cup of dried cherries, 1/3 cup of sliced almonds, and then we're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So let's pour these Chex. Here's my little Holly's helpful hint. I mean, you could put them in a bowl and mash them, but I put them in a bag and scrunch them. I kind of get a little satisfaction out of that. So let's open this up. Pour them in. Let's see. Hopefully that's enough to get 1.5 cups. So I Ziploc close it, take out any extra air, and crunch. Oh, satisfying to crunch it like that. Maybe if you're a little upset and you're thinking of somebody or some situation, you want to get a little aggravation out, this is a great way of doing it. As a matter of fact, that's what the women used to do when they were baking bread and kneading bread. It was a great way of getting out aggravation and frustration. So, and here you can see if you miss something, you just pop them. Not bad. A couple of them still need to be popped. All right, now let's see if I gauge this well. I might have to crunch some more. So I need 1.5 cups. So this is 1 cup. Oop, here's a couple extra. All right. Here's 1 cup. And here's 1/2 cup. Boy, I may have made it. Oh, we might have to do a few extra. Maybe a little bit more. Oops. You know what? I'll just throw a few more in there to crunch. So now what we need to do is we need to melt the chocolate. So we are going to put the chocolate in the bowl and the white chocolate. Now we're going to melt the chocolate chips by putting it in the microwave for 45 seconds. We'll stir it in between and maybe have to do another 45 seconds, but we want to get them nice and melted. So let's take it to the microwave. Here we go, 45 seconds. And start. And while we're at the microwave, we might as well do some calf raises. So you can hold on if you need to, hold on to anything. Come on up in using both feet, We have 45 seconds, or you can do single legs by tucking one foot over the other, or one foot behind your leg, and switch. Back to both legs. You know, I don't know how many years I do calf raises. It's been a long time since I've been in my business for 21 years. And they still, I feel them every time. I still feel them. All right, so here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it out. Take a look at it. Needs some mixing. Oh, it's looking good though. Get it a little mixed. All right, we're gonna have to put it back in for another 45 seconds. Ooh, that means we get some more calf raises. All right. 45 seconds and go. So one of the best ways to stay balanced when you're doing these is to have good posture. So if you bring your shoulders up, back, and down so that your shoulders are over your hips and your hips are over your heels, that's good posture, and good posture gives you good balance. Another thing you want to do is tighten your core, because that will help you with balance as well. So here I am, shoulders back, good posture, tightening my core, and I have better balance. So again, I'll switch and put single leg, because why not? And I'll switch to the other side. Can hold on if you need to. Probably advisable when you have just one leg. And here we go. Let's see how we're doing on this now. Oh, this is good. I find the white chocolate chips don't melt as fast as the chocolate ones. So you gotta kind of keep mixing them until they mix in. So even though this has sugar in it, it's still a healthy recipe. The cherries, dark cherries, have a lot of vitamin C in them. Just keep mixing this. I don't think I need to put it in any longer. I'll just keep squishing, pushing them down a little bit. Oops. The almonds are good protein. So now we just put everything in there. We put in our rice checks. We put in our almond slices. We put in our cherries, dried cherries, and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Adds a little bit to it, and you mix. So in the meantime, you want to have a couple cookie sheets and cover them with wax paper, because we're going to put these in the freezer to harden, and it usually takes about an hour. I'm going to make them into smaller pieces. 1, portion control, and 2, they'll probably freeze or harden a lot faster, and since we're doing the show and I don't want to have to keep everybody here for an hour of these freezing, we'll make them a little bit smaller. Look at that. Yum. I know, it's chocolate, but we love chocolate. All right, so now, believe it or not, the size that I'm going to make, really the calories are only about 35 calories, so it's not so bad. There is protein in here. So now we want to put it on our cookie sheets that are covered in wax paper. So we take it, it calls for, you know, depending on what size you want to make, I try to make them a little more portion controlled. So they're a little smaller. The bigger they are, it does get to be kind of sweet. So little guys. This morning was kind of nice coming out and seeing a little snow on the ground. Maybe not so nice for my husband, who went out and swept the cars off and put some rock salt on the driveway. But I thought it was beautiful. It's winter now. Here we go. Little ones. You try to keep them close together in a bunch as opposed to spread out. Nice. This is very popular when I go to somebody's house for dinner or for a football game. These are great to munch on as a dessert, and they go far, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up serving these, putting these on here, and stick them in the freezer for about an hour. So in between recipes, when I cleaned up one and I'm ready to do the next, we can do some push-ups against the counter. So the best way to do this is to make sure you keep your body straight, and you want to be far enough away so that when you come down, you get a little bit of you feel your body weight. If that's too far, then come a little closer and work your way out. The big thing is, don't do this. Don't stick your butt back. When you do a push-up, you have to take your butt with you. You take it with you on vacation, take it with you when you do a push-up. So maybe you do 5 or 10 push-ups in between recipes, or maybe you do some push-ups while you're waiting for your coffee to perk in the morning, or maybe you're doing push-ups while you're waiting for the microwave. Just fit them in wherever you can. Let's start our next recipe, which is the roasted herb Parmesan acorn squash. We're starting with a cookie sheet. Now I have parchment paper on top of that. And this is our acorn squash. I've already pulled out the seeds and cut it into about 1/4 inch pieces. And we're going to make a nice mixture with a 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan cheese. In here is a mixture of, well, you can use any herbs that you want, but I'm using herbs that I dried from our garden. So there's sage, basil, and oregano in here. And then this is 1 to 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And we're going to put some salt and pepper and a little bit of garlic powder in there as well. So we start with putting everything into the bowl. So you just kind of do a little salt and pepper to taste. And you know me and garlic. I'm not a big fan of garlic because it's so strong. So I'm just putting a little bit in there. All right. And then we pour in the butter. Yay. Make sure we get all of that. Great. Whoops. So acorn squash is also called pepper squash, or some people call it Des Moines squash. It's a winter squash. And we have a lot of acorn squash from our garden. So this is still from our garden. We have a lot of squash in our garage right now. Acorn squash, butternut squash, spaghetti squash that we grew this summer, and it will last us for a while because they do well if they're in a nice chilled area. And acorn squash, this size of this squash is probably about 115 calories. It also has about 30 grams of carbs. So yes, squash does have some carbs. 2 grams of protein and 9 grams of fiber, which is really good. And also it has vitamin A, it has vitamin C, it has vitamin B1 and B6, which is great for the brain. So it's very high and rich in antioxidants, which are good to fight off those free radicals. So we need to put these squash pieces on our sheet pan, because then I'm going to put the mixture on top of each one. Gotta make room because I'm only going to use one pan. And this is, again, parchment paper on top of this. And we have that there. Okay, so now you kind of have to press it into it, but let me make sure I have enough for each one. So I'm going to put it all out on there. And, ooh, I smell the garlic. I know everybody loves garlic but me. And I know it's good for you. I definitely know it's good for you. So I did put some in there. So these are I'm gonna pretty much mash them into it. Yeah. Woo. Nope, forgot this guy. There's plenty here. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of use your fingers to mash it and smoosh it on top. These are good. Cooperate for me, please. Not always cooperating. But you know, since we have a lot of acorn squash from our garden, and most people make a recipe with like brown sugar and cinnamon, I wanted to try new things, and the savory acorn squash, this is just yummy. I mean, I found it on the internet, and you'll see all of the recipes I'll have up on my website, fittingfitnessin.com. But I found it on the website, and I have made it probably 4 or 5 times now, and my husband Steve loves it. He just absolutely loves it. So here we are. We have it ready now. I'm going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20-25 minutes. Instead of just doing a bend over, I'm going to do a squat. Squat, put it in the oven, and come on back up. So now, anytime you're coming to the oven, instead of just bending over, do a nice squat. Maybe widen your legs a little bit. Remember, shoulders back, tighten your core for balance, and come on down. Maybe add a little leg lift to it. A squat with a leg lift, alternating sides. A squat with a leg lift. Remember when you do your squats to keep your knees over your toes, or behind your toes, sorry. And you accomplish that by sticking your butt back. Don't worry, people are probably not watching you in the kitchen, but a squat with a leg lift, maybe 2 or 3 sets. All right, that's 4 sets, and we're going to put this on for about 20-25 minutes. Now, if you're waiting for something to finish cooking, like we're waiting for the acorn squash to finish cooking and for the chocolate cherry almond crisps to harden up, you can always do a little bit of exercise using some soup cans. So Progresso soup cans, these are about 1.5 pounds. I weighed them this morning. And Campbell's soup cans are just under 1 pound. So whichever soup can works better for you. You know, some people have arthritis, the bigger can may work better. Some that need a little lighter, the smaller cans may work better. So whatever, I'm going to choose these, and I'm going to show you how you can do bicep curls with these soup cans. Keep those elbows close to the body. Now I always want you to be in good posture, so shoulders up, back, and down, and tighten your core, bring those biceps up and back down. Easy exercise that you can do in between while you're waiting for things to cook. So I always recommend around 10 to 15 repetitions, so this is a repetition. So that's the bicep curls. Or you can do straight arm pushbacks. Push it straight back like that. That's working the tricep muscle. If you want to be daring, you can do straight arm pushbacks with calf raises, but make sure you have some balance. And then we have lateral raises, where you can either straight arms out like this, but if you have shoulder issues, that may be a problem, so you can bend them and go like this instead. Lateral raises with the soup cans. And the last one you can do, which I recommend, is punches with the soup cans. And you can punch up, up, center, center, and down, down. Now, by doing that, you're using a lot of muscles. So you want to make sure, again, that you have good balance and shoulders back, tighten your core. So this is a great exercise. It also gives you a little cardiovascular exercise. Also, you can get rid of a little aggravation or frustration with these punches. Up, up, center, center, and down and down. There we go. So those are some exercises that you can do in between while you're waiting for things to cook. So these chocolate cherry almond crisps are nice and firm now out of the freezer, and you just plate them. They come off nice and easy because they're on the wax paper. Some are a little bigger than others, but these very easy to transport. Here we go. And I'll just put them there. And that's our chocolate almond cherry crisps. So let's check on the squash now and see how that's doing. Let's see how these are going. Oh, these are good. They smell great. Wish we had smell-o-vision for you. All right, one other exercise you can do either at the oven or at the counter is reverse leg kick. But again, you want to have good posture, shoulders back, tighten your core for balance. You can lift your leg up and push it back. Just little reverse leg kicks. And that works your hamstring, also works your glutes. Very uplifting, if you know what I mean. So you could do 10 on one side, 10 on another, maybe 15 if you have time. We still have a few more minutes on this, so I'll just keep alternating for a few more because these are good for you. They feel good. All right, our squash is out of the oven and it is looking yummy, and it is certainly smelling yummy. Let me put these on here. My husband loves the little Parmesan cheese mixture that gets crunchy on the bottom. All right, let's just plate up that, and we'll put it here so you can get a good look at it. Oven roasted Parmesan acorn squash. Delicious. And our chocolate cherry almond crisp for dessert. So these are a great side dish and a dessert if you're entertaining. And it's a great way to use the squash from your garden. So you can find these recipes on my website, fittingfitnessin.com. And I thank you for being with me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Get Healthy with Holly.